everybody's comfy. You're in your home space. Welcome to my home office. I appreciate you all joining today, or if you're watching this back at a later time, thank you for stepping in and watching. And sit back, relax. Maybe you're eating breakfast, having coffee. Maybe you haven't even gotten out of bed yet. I don't care. This is going to be a magical morning for all of us. I'm going to watch the clock also because I want to do a meditation at 11 or 11:11. I'm leaning towards 11:11, and I'll explain that as we go as to the importance or the significance of that. But I also will be going through slides today. I've got the chat going on the side, and I will take questions at the end. So let me just bring up the because I do want to share. I want to share my information. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see the slides that I have. So today we're going to talk about creating peace and direction during chaos. So creating peace in a time of chaos is a theme that Lake Harriet has this month. And as they asked me to speak, I want to bring peace and some direction into this, but also bring some scientific explanation as to why we're experiencing some of these things. So in the dictionary, chaos is really defined, it's complete disorder and confusion. And when I was doing a little bit of research on just chaos and the physics, because we're in quantum physics, but the physics definition is behavior so unpredictable as to appear random, owing to great sensitivity to small changes. But then it's also the formless matter supposed to have existed before the creation of the universe. And I'm calling this time, I've been doing podcasts on this and talks on this, I'm calling this is our greatest time ever of our spiritual evolution. And so this definition actually makes sense because it's so unpredictable. I mean, we've been talking about this Pluto energy and the death and the rebirth, but none of us could have predicted as to how this would look, right? So in that, all right. In that creation of chaos happens when there's a disruption in the system and there's literally no system to handle the change. And we're seeing that now, right? As this pandemic kind of moves through, there's no system, and we're really being pushed to figure out how agile and how quickly we can change or we can move to this. But this is the time when that new systems evolve. And when I talk about this is the greatest time of our soul evolution, I'll go into explanations of that towards a little bit later. But the chaos happens because things have been going vibrationally out of sync for so long, they need to collapse. And we know everything is energy, everything connects with everything, everything has a push. When I vibrate or when I have an emotion, it affects other things around us. But when there's no system to handle this chaotic vibration that we've created here on Earth, it needs to collapse. And we also know that Mother Earth is going to take over. You know, we can't get too far off track because there are greater systems that take over. So let's talk about what if it's not chaos at all? What if it's really orchestrated, and it's orchestrated series of events to force a human shift with us, a vibrational shift with us? And that's kind of what I want to lay out today, is the power that we have, and that this is not something, and we can say it's happening to us, and why did it happen? I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the gifts that it's bringing us, because that's forwarding energy for us. And just a reminder that our experiences are not external, but rather internal. The events happen around us, but we experience everything internal. So what if, rather than believing you're feeling other people's stuff or you're feeling what's going on, you're actually feeling a trigger to something so deep within you that it's attempting to show itself to be seen, heard, understood, and released. Okay? What if part of this orchestration is to have us go deep within ourselves and heal those things that have been imprinted upon us, things that we have cellular memory, maybe we have ancestral wounds, or we have an ancestral contract or agreement, thinking about it differently, would that allow you to experience this situation a little bit differently? Maybe have a little bit compassion or understanding as to what's happening. There are a lot of events that are happening external, but the power that we still have is how we respond to those external events and the choice that we have, so that we're not fixated or spiraling around this place of fear. And when I talk about the imprint that we have, genetically, we hold 7 generations within our cellular structure. So if our great-great-grandfather or great-great-grandmother had a trauma, chances are it is getting transmitted and you're carrying it in your cellular memory. And so if you have fears, let's say of financial fears, or you have a fear that there's a big conspiracy going on, it could be a cellular memory that's also being triggered within you as a way to be aware of it, to then be consciously deciding what you want to do with that energy. Because as part of the evolution, I want to remind you guys, you asked for this. You asked for spiritual evolution. You asked to move into higher dimensions. We've been asking for earth healing. We've been asking for our souls to shift. We've been asking to be in a place of more love, more compassion, more happiness, more freedom. We've been asking for things, but we didn't know how the universe was going to have it show up, right? And in order for us to get to those types of happiness and joy and peace, we need to go through and dig into those deep ancestral wounds. Being human, we have emotions. Our emotions are our compass. And so if we feel like we've been off track or we've been vibrating off track, it's our emotions have been pushing us that way. We know that emotions such as overwhelm, stress, anxiety, depression, as well as fear, joy, laughter, they affect us psychologically as well as physiologically. We vibrate, and emotions are vibration. And so we know that everything that we feel affects us, including right now, our biggest emotion, the biggest thing that we're all experiencing is this fear, okay? So I'm going to draw your attention to this little figure up here in the corner, the right-hand corner. I see the physical. And when I see people and their energy fields, this is kind of what I see around you, is this energy field. We have this fine layer, the etheric, that's like a thin skin around us that kind of protects us. It's our energetic protection skin. Then we have the emotional body. The emotional body, that's where all our emotions come from. That's where we have clarity, that's where we have calm, that's where we have love, but it's also where we experience fear and anxiety and those types of things. That is our compass. Then we sort through our mental body, and that's the outer ring. And that's where our beliefs, that's where our judgments, that's where we look through. It's like looking through a camera lens. And if you're looking through it, if it's dirty or if it's yellow, that's what we're looking through. So as we're going through this greatest transformational time now, this is what we're looking through. We're looking through fears. We're emotionally tied to our DNA, to our past lifetimes, our childhood imprints. And this is what I'm seeing in people's auric fields. You know, a nice auric field it's not always perfect like this, where the colors, the chakra colors are all nicely placed. But what I'm seeing is looking this way. If you've just joined,
this is very interesting.
To mute, there, I think I just muted you. This is what I'm seeing around people, because we've been vibrating, and because we're all connected, everything vibrates. When I vibrate, it affects you, your vibration. So we have been creating bulges and holes in our vibration pattern simply by interacting maybe with other people that have that fear, certainly by watching fear-based media, news stories, those things. And when I talk about imprints, if we have an event that happens to us one time, unless it's a traumatic event, it typically doesn't create an imprint on our cellular structure. But if we're watching social media, we're watching the news, and we're watching the same story or the same context of a story, and it's fear-based over and over and over and over and over again, what we're doing is, as much as we're trying to release the fear within us, we're self-imprinting. And that's what I want to make everybody aware of today. Is like, we have the power, whether you know it or not, to self-imprint onto yourself the stuff that you're trying to get rid of, right? And so I'm cautioning and what you watch. Certainly we need to have news, we need to have the truth, but really be aware that our auric fields are getting pummeled right now. And we need to get back to this calm. This is what we've been asking for. I want to get back to this calm. I want to get back to love and peace, and I feel balanced. This is our dream chakra system and our energy flow that we're desiring to move into, and the universe is simply helping. So the question I pose is it really chaos or events that are helping us evolve? And again, I'm going to say it, this is the greatest time for evolution. And so personally, I want to take advantage of this. I really want to take advantage of evolving my soul, evolving my community, evolving the globe as much as I can. So I understand the impact that my vibration has on other people. And again, we asked for change. Think of yourself for just a moment, and what was life like for you leading up to this? Were you working crazy hours? Were you out of balance with spending time with family and community and just having time for yourself? You know, I don't have time to go read a book. I don't have time to go work out. I don't have time. If we were measuring everything by time, we are fixated in the third dimension, that vibration. How many of you were maybe fixated on the need to produce things, like sitting down and just relaxing and reading a book or doing yoga or going for a walk was looked upon as being unproductive? I can't waste my time just relaxing. I got to be doing something. And honestly, we weren't living healthy. We weren't living healthy from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. And as a result, we were becoming more disconnected as a society versus becoming connected, which is what evolution and awakening is all about, is coming together, not moving apart in this world. So let's talk about the science on this and what's happening in our physical systems. We have the expansion of our energy centers. Most of you are familiar with the normal 7 chakras: the root, the sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. But we have other chakras, and we have thousands of chakras, but this is what's happening in this energy field in order for us to move into this astral plane and the spiritual plane. And you might say, why do we want to do this? I'm going to touch on that. But it's important that our chakras stay moving. And we've been doing a really good job in understanding our chakras. But now it's time for us to get into these outer planes, get into what I would call the etheric template, the celestial body, and the causal. So our chakra systems, we're equipped with this. We're expanding this, but we haven't been using them. So in the emotional, this universal heart, this is all about, it taps into the emotional part of us. It's better understanding and helping us change our compass. It's being aware of open and high vibe emotions. The mental body, that needs to clear, because again, that's where our patterns and our beliefs that allow for that new space to come in. And think of these spaces as being almost holding patterns, right? If you're filled with anger or stress and anxiety, it's pretty hard to allow compassion and love and joy to come into that space. If your mental filter is filled with, oh my gosh, the people on the other side of the globe are so awful, they're so bad, or people that want to go out and they're not sheltering down, they're so bad. If that's our filter, that's what we're seeing life through. We can have those thoughts. I'm not telling you can't have those thoughts or those opinions, but if they become your filtering with how you see life through, then that creates a blockage for you. And as we are all evolving, our biggest question we are trying to understand is, who am I? And why am I here? And what am I doing here? That is the number one question, right? And for us to really understand that, we have templates. We came here, our soul has a template. And so we're just trying to get back to that etheric template. We're trying to get back to our core resonance, our core vibration as to who we are. And through lifetimes and through evolution, we're getting smarter. We, lifetimes ago, we didn't really understand what the chakras were or energy, and we certainly didn't have scientific tools to expand or to see these things, but we do now. So I'm just going to run through quickly what's happening, because the heart chakra is popping out. And please think about these as the, instead of the line being drawn to the side of you, it's out in front of you, okay? So the heart chakra is expanding out, and that mimics it being out in your emotional body, but it connects to this universal love that's above the head. And that allows us to work through, do some dharma, some karma, some past lifetime, akashic records, all those types of healings in the place of our emotional body. The throat chakra, I have 3 lines here because there's actually 3 chakras in just the throat area. It's the collarbone is the lower one, the throat is the middle, and then the upper is actually in the sinus area. And those 3 are combining to be one, and then that opens up to be this spiritual communication. Okay, I think we've been going through this I call this pop out, this expansion of our energy centers, probably since about 2017. I've been seeing a lot of people working in this area. Most recently, I think that we're being called to awaken and to align the lower chakras. So we've been maybe experiencing a lot of digestion, feet problems, that type of thing, because the lower chakras also are connecting with that foot, in order for us to become more connected to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is also going through some physical changes now to help us. So at universal love ties to moon and our emotions, the feminine energy. And some of you might notice that at this time, you're more drawn to the moon. You're just simply more aware of the moon cycles, full moon, new moon. In fact, we have a new moon coming up this week on Wednesday. But the moon really ties to our intuition, to our karmic understanding, and that is that space. So in the emotion, we begin to receive new codes and keys. And think of yourself as a big system, and you have programs that are running. They're imprints, they're ancestral wounds, they're part of your DNA. Those are the programs. And we're always receiving new upgrades. We're always receiving new programs, whether we do it to ourselves or somebody gives it to us. But we're also always receiving new keys to change those. And I want to shift the thinking a little bit. The programs that we have, not all of them are bad. I have some very lovely programs from past lifetimes where I was a priestess or I was a certain type of healer, and those are just opening up and coming in. So not only do we get to release the things we no longer want to hold on to or we no longer need, but we also get to have access to those things that were good in our past lifetimes, those things that are good in our DNA, the things that have been good imprinted on us, okay? The spiritual communication, that ties more to the sun. And we've been seeing a lot of solar activity last year. We'll continue with that this year. But that ties to the masculine energy. That gets the doing done, where the feminine energy is the feeling or the planning. The masculine is the doing. And everybody has both, right? This is the place that we actually remove those blockages because it's our filtering system. So if we're going to receive new codes or new keys, we have to remove the old ones that don't work for us anymore. And so that's what we're doing right now. The foot chakra, that's about trusting ourselves. It's about being sure, that the term being sure-footed, walking the path. It's acceptance of you. That's really the understanding of I am, and this is the path that I'm walking. That ultimate being, that's as these chakras connect, and it looks like a gnarly wired mess. It looks like a poor electrician job, right? Think of these as electrical wirings. And again, think of them as being out in front of you versus alongside of you. But as we connect, all these begin to connect. We strive for this ultimate being, and that's where we begin to transcend time and space. We really have a deep understanding of wanting new, but also the understanding that we are allowed, or we should have the new. It's that freedom, it's that desire, okay? So as all these continue to connect, then we start moving up into this ultimate being. And this ultimate being, or the universal being, that's really where we move into the universal consciousness, enlightenment, connection, collaboration. We commune with the divine. We feel this peace, this calm. Everything feels like it's in its normal order. We aren't stressed, okay? So take a moment and just look at these lines, and again, imagine them out in front of you and alongside of you and in back of you, because we're not flat, we're dimensional beings, so our energy goes in 360 around us. And it starts to represent the Merkaba. And Merkaba is actually 3 words. Mer means light that rotates within itself, just like our chakra systems, right? Ka refers to the human spirit, and Ba alludes to the physical form. So the Egyptians first believed that the Merkaba is this rotating light that carries the human body and spirit from one plane to another. So it is a transport mechanism. So the science behind this is, as our electrical grids around us begin to expand and form, we begin to spin, not just our chakras, but the energy fields begin to spin around us. And that's what creates that opening to the astral, through the astral plane, up into the spiritual plane, okay? And we are striving, we're desiring to evolve, but we won't stop, because once we have access, this etheric template, that contains all forms that exist on the physical plane. So it's not just us, but we have an understanding of nature, of trees and plants and animals. We have an understanding, because it gets us back to the blueprint of, or the essence of the soul. It's like that negative. You know, if you think of the old photography, it's the negative before the print is actually created. And that is said to be the galactic root. So much like we have a root chakra, so does our galactic, or the galactic presence. The celestial body, that's this outer, that's what I call is anything that's outside of Earth's atmosphere. That includes the moon, the sun, the planets, the astral beings, but also includes angelic, those things that we can't see, but there's energy. That's where I say those are the other dimensions, really. And that's the galactic solar chakra, and it vibrates to 528. See the magic in that number, that 528, which is the healing, the DNA healing hertz. So there's actually a vibration, just as there is in our chakra system. There's a vibration that's associated to the galactic. And at this causal body, that's the highest, or the innermost body that veils our true soul. That's that galactic heart, and that's that connection to all, connection to divine, connection to all. That term veil has been very misunderstood for many. We create the veil, and so when we say the veil is thinning, it's actually our awakening. It's our awareness that we put the veil there, and really all we're trying to do is to get back to the true essence of our soul and have that connection with all on a very deep and beautiful spiritual connection. So how is Mother Earth helping us? Well, a couple scientific things. Ley lines, those are land energy lines. So if you think of the power lines, or even our cable lines, you know, now everything's Wi-Fi, but our cable lines, think of those as being a line that carries an energy source. And oftentimes they're crystal veins that carry the earth energy across the globe. And there's key spots that the energy kind of pools. And oftentimes we see sacred sites are built there, like Machu Picchu, Stonehenge, Scalig Island, the pyramids. There might be pivotal places where the energy pools, and then it spider veins out from there, okay? It doesn't just run in the pattern, but it pools and then spiders out, much like a lake or a stream kind of pools out, okay? A vortex is believed to be a special spot on Earth where the energy is either entering into the Earth, because we're always receiving, or the earth is generating up and out. So vortex energy moves in a spiral, and it moves up and down, and it often feels masculine or feminine, a spin, and again, to keep us in balance. So this is a known grid, and the pink, this is called the feminine line, or they're known as dragon lines, and that's why I call them dragon lines here. The feminine are through the root, heart, third eye, crown, and solar, and the masculine are root and sacral. The throat chakra is right in the middle right now. It's not associated to a masculine and feminine. It's kind of balancing between, so to say. The reason I show this is back at the end of March, there's been a lot of activity, earthquakes out on the West Coast, but there was a lot of energy surge in Mount Shasta. If you look at Mount Shasta is what? The root chakra. So that was the end of March. What was happening around here? I don't want to make fun of the toilet paper snafu or the hoarding of toilet paper, but that kind of simulates that root chakra. So we were experiencing this sense of, what do I need to do to feel secure and stable, because the root chakra is all about security and stability. It's our financial system. It's how we feel about ourselves. So there was a huge energy surge in this area as that energy, again, it spider webs out, so it doesn't just stay there. It goes all over the globe, okay? At that same time, there was a surge of energy. The same date, it was like March 28th, March 29th, in that time period. The fourth chakra and the sixth chakra, which is the heart and the third eye, in Glastonbury. And the fourth chakra moves around. Right now it's in Glastonbury, and it's aligned with the third eye. So think about that for a moment too. What is this pandemic? That's all in the lung area, which is the heart, right? The heart area. It's really forcing us. The third eye is not outward, it's about inward. We were asked to start sheltering in place. So these three upticks of energy in the spiritual world, it's like, okay, here's Mother Earth getting a surge of energy to support us in those areas where we don't feel stable or secure, but Earth is going to support us through this. We're feeling this illness, this disease is coming through in the lung area, which is in the heart area. And Mother Earth is supporting there too. And we're needing to go really deeply into that third eye, that I am presence. Who am I? Okay. And again, I know I'm going through this fast. I'll leave time at the end for questions for everyone. Let's go back in time a little bit. We knew that 2020 was going to be a defining year for humanity. It really represents the summing up of the past and the establishing of something new. We didn't know what it was. Pluto is about death and rebirth, and Pluto is an outer planet, and so systems outside of us need to break down. But it also represents the underworld, the shadow, and really the things that we've been afraid to look at or to shine light on. So we're getting it external, because again, Pluto is one of those external planets, but we're also getting it internal. What have you been afraid to look at? What have you been struggling with or needing to let go and just have been, it's been an anchor. It's kind of been, there's been hopes or there's been glimmers where it's let go. This is really a time for truly us to cut and be done with those things of the past. And we are seeing changes. I mean, everything around us changes in government, the legal system, financial, religion, education, corporations, business, healthcare. I mean, it's everything. This is the time of the rise of the feminine energy. And we know that between 2020 and 2025, it's been predicted for a long time that this is the time of humanity and a time of great service. But it also is a time for healing, a time for intuition, a time for balance, a time for creativity and harmony and love. It's just, we might not be feeling it that way now, right? We expected it to be something different. And we know as humans, when we put all our thoughts into expecting how something's going to be and it doesn't show up that way, we don't like it. we don't like it. We fight, we crab about it, we get angry about it. But again, I'm going to remind you, we've been asking for this evolution and it's here. And so how do we use this energy? Okay. Keep in mind, the universe is always, 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 always listening. And so we asked for our evolution. So even now, the simple things that you post on Facebook, if you're unhappy about something, that's a collective energy and the universe is listening to that. But we are on warp speed of our evolution. Not just getting on the freeway and going 100 or 200 miles an hour. We're on warp speed of our evolution, okay? And a couple things to keep in mind as we go forward is evolution is not time-based, it's event-based. Third dimension is time. We live by the clock, right? Well, there's 24 hours in a day. There's I have to get up at 8 o'clock. I have lunch at noon. I have to pick up the kids by this time. Everything is time and it's linear based. But as we move into 5D or fifth dimension, I'm going to say we have access to all dimensions. Not just, don't think linear. Don't think I'm going from 3 to 4 to 5. Think I'm going through a gateway that gives me access to all the dimensions. And 5 dimension is the lowest dimension that we start to feel the pull of the third dimension. But quite honestly, I want to be in the higher dimensions, okay? So in those higher dimensions, there is no time. Everything is event-based. And that's why we're struggling so much with, when is this pandemic going to be done? When do I get to get back? When do I get to get a haircut? When do I get to get back to my favorite restaurants? When do I get back to work? That type of thing. It's not time-based, it's event-based. And so we get to ask the question, what do we need to do? What are the events that we need to do right now to align us in that evolution? Okay. Number one, this has forced us to stop doing. We have to be. The shelter in place is an enforcement of slowing down. It's telling us that the vibration is off. Stop doing. So if you're listening to this now and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I now have all these hours in the week. What am I going to do? I want to come out of this, learning something, reading all my books, maybe painting my house. Stop for a moment and just say, is that part of the old you that's still in this craziness of avoiding the inner work, so you have to run from it and you have to go do something? Is it time for you to be? Is it time for you to start a meditation practice, a yoga practice, something that centers the energy? I don't care if it's 5 minutes a day where you just come into your heart. Start a practice that allows you to be connected to who I am, the energy that's sitting in this chair right now, okay? The other thing that this pandemic is teaching us is the understanding that we are connected to all. I mean, think about, we're sheltering within to help the healthcare workers to flatten the curve so that we don't spread, all those things that we've been told. But it's really showing us how connected we are and how our actions impact others. We've known this at the soul level, but we have become so disconnected that it is time for us just to pause, and on a global standpoint, the understanding that everything I do, if I breathe, it is impacting somebody else. Do you understand that? It's energy and the power that we have, and we have to understand our actions, our movements, our beliefs. That vibration is impacting others. So how powerful we are when we start to think about putting out into the world love. And that's what our meditation, I'm just going to take a peek at clock here. That's what our meditation is about. This is showing us how to breathe. It's all in the lung area. It's how many of you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, do I have a headache? Do I have a fever? Am I breathing? Can I breathe in and hold my breath 10 seconds? It's teaching us to be aware of our physical bodies, where we just get up and not even pay attention to this magnificent machine that we're walking around in every day, the system that carries us every single day. This is also teaching us who we want to be with or who we don't want to be with. It's either going to bring, if we're hunkering down with people in our house, it's either going to bring us really, really close together and a greater understanding and a greater love for those, or it's going to bring up something that might split us apart. But this is also true in when we look at the jobs or our careers. Do I really want to go back to that job? Can I really see myself going back to that job? This is also showing us where we have disparities in our life. Separation are gaps. Where do we have gaps? We as people, where does society have gaps? Where do our community, where does the globe have gaps? And what am I doing about it? Thing I hope that we can do is go back and look at where we failed, or where we took a misstep, or where we should have turned left and we turned right instead, not from a place of beating up anybody, but a place from learning. And I would suggest that in your own life too, is look at your own life, not from a beating up or judgment, but just as an awareness. What's it showing you? And looking forward. This is really a time of truth, and we're being pushed to ask for truth. We also will see how we're using technology. You know, in the past, we could go to a restaurant. Half the time, if I went out to eat, I'd see people, family sitting at a table, and everybody would be staring at their phone, right? This is teaching us a different way to use technology, to use it to connect, to use it to help each other, to use it to communicate, versus it being a distraction. So I want to again thank everybody for tuning in today. We're learning how creative we are and how adaptable we truly are, through how quickly we had to move from, you know, even working outside the home to working in the home, homeschooling, those types of things. If we've lost our job, we're having to really dive deep into how do we support ourselves? How do we support community? This is driving us to come together. I just saw our governor here in Minnesota has asked people to make masks and set up distribution place and time where you can drop them off so that they can be donated or given to the healthcare, the people that are in the front lines. But there's also big companies that are retooling their manufacturing sites to make things, make masks and other medical tools. There's huge amounts of outpouring of individuals donating, or as I said, making supplies. And we're seeing more of a collaboration between countries and states. But as we know, there's always light and darkness. So where there's a coming together, there's also separations. And so coming out of this, there might be some separations. And what I would say to that is throw more love to it, throw more light to it. If you're seeing stories that create separation in humanity, or separation between they and me, throw some love to it. Don't share that story. Throw some love to it. It's a time we need to come together, not drive more wedges in. And I mentioned the data. We're going to come out of this because our brains, that our filters are shifting. We're going to want more science. And I've been seeing this for a number of years. Science is finally connecting or catching up to the world of woo-woo, the world of metaphysics and quantum physics. The science is finally being there. So I touched on a few things of what we'll see. It is a time of huge emotional expansion, healing of old fears, okay? If you had a past lifetime and you lost everything, you lost your family, you lost your home, you maybe were abandoned, those triggers, that cellular memory might be coming up right now for you because it's in your cellular structure. You might find yourself saying, wake up and say, I just feel this huge fear. I have no idea where it's coming from. I know I'm good. I know I'm safe. I know I have everything I need. Where is it coming from? It's cellular. You might find yourself, I'm not a baker, but suddenly I'm like, I just feel like baking. I feel like baking, and that's an ancestral, something within me has gotten woken up. I've had people say they feel like they're buying, like they can't have enough food. They're buying just crazy quantities. They feel like they need to stockpile, or they need to have a safety mechanism. Perhaps you had a past lifetime, or your ancestors had a memory or experienced famine or starvation, or not having those things. So just be aware of what's coming up in your cellular structure. This is a time to have that deeper understanding of yourself. What is your intuition? Go ahead and watch a YouTube or watch something on social media, but sit back and listen to your own intuition. Listen to your I am energy and see, does it make sense to you? Is it your truth or somebody else's truth? Okay. Create that space of collaboration, inviting people in. Watch, be very aware, because there's cracks in our system right now and everybody's trying to repair. It's like there's water leaking all over and everybody's trying to crack the water. But if you're going to do any repair or sharing or the potential to share something, make sure that it's from a place of love, that it's a place of truth. Check the facts. We're also in this time of appreciation and honoring of family and friends. I have just singular, this is plural, friends with an S on the end. And then I think coming out of this, we're really going to look to invest in places that it matters. Our medical community, our health, our time at home, our kids, those types of things. I think that this will give us a different filter on where we want to put our investment. And I'm not just talking financial, I'm talking about where we want to put our energy. Because coming out of this, we will really understand our energy, okay? And then this is also going to help us redefine our heroes, okay? And I'm going to pause here. It is 11:11, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to come back to this, and I'm going to bring up some music here. This is the healing tones of 174 and 528. Hopefully everybody can hear that. Okay. I'm going to see if I can just share my screen for just a moment here. Okay. Take a moment and just close your eyes, because we're going to do a transmission out to the universe using the back tones of the healing frequencies 174 and 528. Can you hear okay? Taking a deep breath, just exhaling out and relaxing. And you don't need to do anything except just receive. If a thought comes up into your mind, fear, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay this bill this week? Or what if I lose my job? Or what if I get sick? I want to replace those thoughts with healing thoughts. I am solid and secure in my life, in my energy. I have all that I need. The universe is always providing to me. I have financial freedom, income, health, security, happiness every day. It is part of my divine celestial template that I have access to all that I need. Any emotions that feel of lower vibration that I might experience, I allow them to be released now. I allow all that I am, my true essence, my true source, to be pulsating through all the cellular structure within the billions of cells in my body. Just breathe for a moment and allow this vibration to move through your body. Now, as you find yourself relaxed, start putting emotions and feelings out to the universe as to what you want your new you to be. How does it feel? We can start with thinking of the earth, green and luscious, clear and clean water, blue skies, sun shining, the warmth that we feel in our skin. Then focus on your physical being. Take a deep breath in, and you feel the health within your physical being. You might even find yourself smiling as you acknowledge just this magnificent system that carries you around each and every single day. You might feel some tingling in the throat area or other places in your body. As we form that connection, and we expand out into the emotional field. And you feel your heart open. The physical body might feel like it just drops away. You feel yourself suspended in this beautiful light of love, peace, calm. It's here in this emotional body we take a clean sweep through this area and let go of those things from now and from all the beginning of time that no longer serves you. Releasing of ancestral wounds, karmic contracts, agreements. Relaxing and allowing the light to fill in the space with love and happiness and joy. Move now into the mental body. This is our thinking and our thoughts. Sometimes we call it our monkey mind. We just let go of the thoughts. We let go of the judgments. We accept those triggers that come to us because they are only our gifts that show us where we've created our own roadblocks and limitations. We have no veil here. We have clear access. This access point is only through divine love. And as you allow yourself now, you create the portal and that gateway through the astral plane. Moving to that place of peace for the etheric template. Connecting with the essence of the soul and the galactic root. And allowing that energy to flow into you. Going further and connecting to the celestial body. Allowing the angelic beings, the astral beings, the energies of the galaxies, the planets, to connect with your energy field, the solar area and into the heart area through this 528 hertz. Now connecting and activating and accessing the causal body, the true soul. entering into the galactic heart and making that connection there. Plugging in. All remnants of the veil are gone. You have access to the divine energy that is for your purest source. You're protected and shielded from anything and all things that are not of your divine vibrational frequency. This is a clear transport of this energy. And allowing yourself a deep breath in, we're going to come back into your physical body slowly. You're not disconnected. You have this huge plug that you've now plugged into the divine energy, the divine source. Coming back into your physical body, feeling the tip or the top of your head vibrate slightly. This is just a nod from your guides, the angelic beings, that you're still human, that you're still here. Taking a deep breath in, go ahead and clear your throat, wiggle your fingers. Coming back to present, open your eyes when you're ready. All right. How are you doing? Okay. I'm just going to share while you're still kind of floating. I'm going to share this.
Thank you for shaking us and showing us we are dependent on something much bigger than we think. Thank you for making us appreciate the luxury we lived in, abundance of products, freedom, health, and realizing we were taking it for granted. Thank you for stopping us to make us see how lost we were in the busyness, not having time for the most basic things. Thank you for allowing us to put aside all our problems we thought were so important and showing us what is actually important. Thank you for stopping the transport. The earth was begging us to look at the pollution for a very long time. We didn't listen. Thank you for all the fear. It has been a global disease for years, but not many of us wanted to face it. And now we have to face it and learn how to embrace it with love and with the support of our community. Thank you for this reevaluation of our lives. Thank you as we finally understand what it means that we are all connected. Thank you for the unity between all of us. We knew the world has to change. Thank you for helping us to undermine everything and giving us a chance to build the world from the very beginning. This virus is part of us. It's between us, in us. It connected us all, either physically or energetically. Gratitude supports the immune system, but also lets us see things from many perspectives. And it's up to us which perspective we will choose, but best is to be aware of all of them.
everybody back. So I want to touch, I ended my slides just kind of abruptly. I just had a couple more things that I wanted to touch on this. And I think number one was just honoring Earth and honoring ourselves in this. I think as we go forward, we will be looking more locally versus globally. We still understand that we live on this Earth from a global standpoint, but we'll be looking for more community, more collaboration, and more ways that we can honor Earth in this. And the most important thing that I think that we're going to be coming out of this with is renewal of really honoring ourselves through this time. All right. So I'm just going to take a quick peek. We're coming up. We have 3 minutes. I won't have time to answer questions. I'm so sorry. I want to just touch on, I have a couple events that are coming up later this week if you want to connect. I did a dream on Friday night, and I've got a sound healing on Wednesday night and a class on connecting with inner calm on Wednesday afternoon, and a channeling event on April 24th. These are all events that you can find on my calendar at Your Life Core. And I'm just going to share. Hang on, I'm going to bring those up real quick. Also, before we sign off here, I just want to personally thank Lake Harriet Spiritual Community. If you've joined us this morning, you can go into their website. You can see their calendar, Lake Harriet Spiritual Community calendar. But if you feel so called to, please drop a donation there. They make it possible to also have us stay connected through events like this. And again, if you are looking for anything in additional, you can check out my calendar at yourlifecore.com. I can't believe how fast it went today. Just a few minutes ending. Typically, when we speak at Lake Harriet, we circle up and we do a quick meditation just in celebration of everyone. And so I want to do a virtual circle up right now, just real quickly. So just sit with the palms of your hands up and virtually believe or connect with those that are joining us here now, or those that we are connected with spiritually. And I want you just to draw attention, can you feel the tingling in the palms of your hands? We are energy. And whether we're physically present or in the same room, we are all energetically connected. My thoughts, my words, my beliefs, my heart space, the things that I personally put out into the world impact you. The things that you put out into the world impact me. And I want to acknowledge each and every one of you, you brilliant light that you are, the power that you have, the energy that you are emitting out into the universe. You are here in this lifetime now in this place because you decided to help out on this journey. And I just want to acknowledge you for that. Thank you for coming today. Namaste in honoring you. Have a beautiful Sunday day. It's beautiful, sunny, blue skies here. Hopefully it is that also where you are. Have a great week. Have a great Sunday.